Win without chasing, the psychology of commanding desire. This is Troy, I'm in London, welcome to another episode. The key thing here really is you don't want to be somebody who chases, okay? We talk all the time about the need for approach and the need for social approach, okay? So if the problem, in inverted commas, is modern dating's really hard, the dating apps don't work, guys don't get very many matches, women get matches, but they tend to be with substandard guys, there's a lot of ghosting, there's a lot of flaking, blah, blah, blah. And people are lonelier now than, even though we've got more connectivity than ever before, people are lonelier than ever before. If that's the problem, what is the solution? The solution is an ability to go and talk to other human beings in real life and have engaging conversations with them, okay? It's as simple as that. It's not rocket science, okay? That is the solution. However, a criticism of that would be, well, okay, but I don't want to seem like I'm somebody who is, you know, chasing, who's desperate, who's trying to create an outcome, you know, or God forbid, even worse, you know, being manipulative or whatever. You don't have to be, okay? You don't have to be. It's about energy, as most of these things are, all right? So back in the old black and white days where people used to talk about dating advice for men, a lot of it was very tactical. A lot of it was based on sort of verbals, clever things to say, jokes, interesting gambits, interesting conversational, you know, structures, and so on and so forth. All right, that was what the emphasis was on. Those things can be useful, okay? Those things can be useful because you've got to have something to say, and you've got to kind of know the order in which you're going to say it. So yeah, there is some place for that for sure, but it's much more important when we talk about this to think about energy. What is the energy that you are bringing to the situation, okay? And what is the energy that she is feeling when you walk into the room on a date, or when you approach her when you guys first meet, or when you meet her, you know, for that second date, you come to somewhere like iconic London venue here, Daphne's, you know, maybe you go for a nice little dinner. What is the energy that she's going to feel when you do that, when you walk into the room? Now, how you create that energy is somewhat intangible, okay? But it is learnable. Like all of these things, social skills are learnable, okay? Energy comes through the presence that you hold, and the presence that you hold comes through your mindset. It comes through how you feel about yourself, okay? So how you feel about yourself, what you think about yourself is super, super, super important, okay? So the first thing is you need to get your self-esteem up, and you need to get your self-esteem up very quickly, okay? If you have low self-esteem, which a lot of us do, or a lot of us did when we, you know, began this journey, then you need to flip the script on that almost immediately, okay? Because you've got to recognize that dating is at base, at root, a value exchange of sorts, okay? So she has value. She's a beautiful woman, she is interesting, she's fun, she's cool, she's traveled, she's got a cool job, you know, whatever it is, well, you know, she's obviously got value, right? Because you are interested in her, so we know already she's got value. You have value as well, but what is your value? And do you believe in your value, okay? And are you communicating your value in a congruent, believable and not flashy but obvious way, okay? Or is your value being communicated? This is the question, all right? We work with a lot of guys who on the surface are rock stars. I mean, not literal rock stars, although I did work with one famous musician once back in the past actually, but you know, when I say that, I mean they are overperforming in key metrics across the board, okay? Decent looking, well put together, well dressed, well groomed, intelligent, make good money, in shape, maybe even do martial arts or some kind of, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're ticking all of the boxes. And yet their experiences with dating are still terrible, okay? So why is that? There's a problem, there's a disconnect between what they are inherently and the manner in which they're putting that across, the manner in which they're communicating that. To put it crudely, they're not selling themselves very well, okay? It's about marketing. You have a great product, but you don't market it, or the marketing is crap. Nobody buys the product, okay? It doesn't matter how good the product actually is if no one knows about it, or nobody's convinced of that value of the product, okay? And sales 101, sales psychology 101, is that you, first of all, as the person doing the selling, has to be convinced of the value of the product, okay? So this is why I say mindset, self-esteem, this is the first part. This is the key thing, okay? So you've got the mindset, you get the self-esteem, okay? And then you start to carry yourself differently. There's Francis Bacon there. There's a little Francis Bacon there behind me, if you can see. A triptych. You develop the self-esteem, okay? And then, ideally, you know, things start to fall into place because you start to carry yourself differently. The energy that you bring as you walk into a scenario changes. It becomes more magnetic, it becomes more compelling, okay? And then the people around you, the women around you, notice that, they pick up on that. Rolling Stones picture here. You kind of see that maybe. They pick up on that and they feel something, okay? Because again, it's all about, I won't show that picture, it's a bit political. They pick up on the energy that you're emitting, okay? And then they react to you differently. Now, I learned this in a very visceral way, in a very real life way, just through my own life experience. I've told the story many times, but you know, I went to live in a different city in the UK. I changed my entire friendship group. I also started drinking a lot and doing a lot of naughty substances, which I don't recommend. Don't do it, kids. But you know, that was how it was for me. It changed my mindset almost overnight. I became a different, sort of cockier, kind of more devil-may-care version of myself. And guess what? The people around me started to change towards me. In fact, I actually started to draw people towards me suddenly because I was dressing in a different way. I was sort of being a little bit more flamboyant in the way that I portrayed myself, right? And people were then coming to me and going, "Oh, that's cool what you're wearing. Where did you get that from?" Or, you know, "That, why are you wearing that? That's interesting," whatever, right? Men and women, right? And so I was bringing people towards me, and this was all to do with my inner mindset, because my inner mindset flipped from I think I'm a bit of a loser to actually I think I'm better than the lot of you, so fuck off. And maybe that's taking it a little bit far, but you know what I'm saying. That shift in mindset actually paid huge dividends in terms of my social life and also my dating life as well. So changing the way you think about yourself, having more command presence is super key. It's super powerful. And then the way that you come across is going to change. And then it becomes less about, it's less about you chasing. I mean, yes, you might walk up to somebody that you think is attractive and say, "Hey, I think you're attractive." You could do that. But you're not really chasing, because part of the job is already being done by what you're putting out into the universe, right? The way that you're coming across. Part of the job is done for you. She's like, "Oh, wow, this guy's come and said he likes me, but there's something really cool about him. He seems really self-contained. He doesn't seem that bothered about the outcome. He doesn't seem desperate like some of these other guys. I think that's attractive." And so then it becomes a dance rather than you trying to get her to like you, all right, which is what a lot of guys do, and is a bad way to go. It becomes more like, well, you know, I'm great, here it is. If you want it, let me know, otherwise I'm moving on. You know, sort of thing. That's a crude way of putting it, but you know what I'm saying. And that's a much more powerful position to be in. That's a much more powerful role to play, and you absolutely can play it, okay? And it is something that can come to you. But this is what we teach, you see, because, again, I've talked about all the problems with modern dating, the modern dating scene, blah, 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 ad infinitum, but what is the solution? Well, the solution is to have more presence in real life and not be the person who's chasing for attention, but be the person who's commanding that attention, okay? And you can learn to do it, you really can, because I've done it and countless other people that we've taught have done it as well. If you're interested in talking about this further, doing some coaching, drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. Otherwise, subscribe to the channels. Thank you for your support, it is appreciated. Give me a comment, give me a like, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.